Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Hoyt Lakes regular city council meeting, Monday, November 23rd, 2020, 6:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mayor Vreeland,
Here.
Councillor Zins,
Here.
Segler,
Here.
Pop,
Here.
and Peterson. Here.
Everybody's in attendance. Consent agenda, please.
Item 3 is approval of city council meeting minutes of November 9th, 12th, and 16th. Item 7 is the filing of correspondence listed on your agenda. And item 10 is approval of claims, payroll, and receipts.
Anybody have any concerns with the consent agenda?
Oh, looks good. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, motion by Councillor Pop. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by, was that Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, support by Councillor Segler. Roll call, please.
Councillor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. There's nobody for guests or citizens tonight, Becky?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, we will move on then. Reports from staff. Recreational golf arena. Wade, are you on? Yep, there you are.
Yep, I'm here. Obviously, I'm closed. Not much else to say other than, what we're going to do with the outdoor rink, I guess.
Has anybody started flooding it yet?
Yeah, they're working on it. Well, as we speak, they're working on it. So.
Okay. Well, I don't see why that wouldn't be able to be open.
And I know the warming house can't be open, and I can't find anything in any executive orders that says where there's a limit on the number of people that can be on the ice. So yeah, I'm fine with it being open.
Yeah, I called Giants Ridge today and they are opening Friday for skiing. So
Yeah, that's
people have to go in and get their passes, and there's going to be nothing else is going to be open inside other than the bathrooms. They said you can't go inside and warm up. It's strictly bathrooms only. So I have no issue with the outdoor rink.
Yeah, the only thing I probably should get a portage on for out there this year, being there won't be any way to get in the arena.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, I can see it, but I know there just can't be any youth practices. And I was on a Zoom meeting with some guys from Minnesota Hockey and the Arena Managers Association and Minnesota Youth Sports Association. And they said if anybody tries to practice, the hammer's coming down on them. So, and they've all been told that. So
maybe put a couple benches out there or something.
A couple benches. Kenny's going to bring down one of the booths from Water Carnival. Just put the benches in there. So there's some little shelving to put bags and shoes so you don't have to throw them in the snowbank.
Okay, all right.
And that's all open air, so that'll be fine. That'll work out good. He's got rubber matting to put in there too, so they won't be standing on the ground. They'll be on rubber matting, so.
But you haven't heard of any limiting it to so many kids on the ice?
No, and I can't find that. I've been reading the executive order. I can't find that on any of this. And I've been in the youth and adult sports thing. I can't find anything. They're supposed to keep 6 feet of distance.
Right.
That's about all I can find in here. So.
Okay. Any other councils got any concerns on the outdoor rink?
The only thing that I would have with that is, isn't there something in the executive order about trying to keep the group size under 10? We have to post something that there can't be more than 10 skaters on the rink, or I don't know.
I just can't find that where it says that under outdoor recreation.
Okay,
that's more indoor, Dan, and okay.
Well, I thought he said indoor or outdoor in his last speech, so.
Well, we'll look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, if that's the case, I think you just have to post 10 skaters at a time or something. But see what you can find, Wade. Do you have any idea when the outdoor rink will be ready?
No, the long range forecast supposed to be up to 45 one day, so I don't know. It's all weather dependent.
Yeah. No, I understand that, but it could be a week or two yet before it's ready.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be ready for this coming weekend, so.
Okay, well, they're walking out on Red Lake ice fishing tomorrow already, so it's getting close.
Yeah.
All right,
I got nothing else.
all right, thank you, Wade. Is Sue on?
She is not.
Okay. Kenny?
Yeah, as Wade spoke of the outdoor rink, I personally was involved in starting to flood it last night. Again, just like Wade said, the weather's really not cooperating, so I feel it's going to be a good week or better before. But we're trying to get slush actually out there right now to freeze, and then we'll continue to flood it each day. We're going to try and not flood it as heavy at night and just maybe go multiple times during the day and night to put a thin layer on at a time, hoping that'll help. As Wade spoke, I planned on bringing one of the food booths down there just to provide some shelter in a dry area. But again, something I don't feel being open air that it'll be a problem. Other than that, City Hall project, the countertop has been installed. The contractor who's supposed to install the piece of glass is supposed to be there today, tomorrow, this week. At which point then the office area will be secure again. So they'll be removing that big plastic barrier that's up and around. Upon the glass being installed, then the masonry contractor will come in to piece in those brick openings where the doorways used to be located. Once that's done, it's all looking good to complete by December 10th for the office furniture install. So that job should be wrapping up shortly. Just wanted to give the residents and everybody a heads up out at the recycle center. There's going to be a lot of activity over the next couple weeks. The concrete crushing crew is in there right now as part of the road project. They expect that to last a couple weeks. So I just want to urge people to kind of not be in their way or pulling in there where they shouldn't be, at that time. I did advise the contractor as well to keep that second gate closed, just trying to keep people out of there. At the same time, the guy who's going to grind the brush pile, he showed up today and will be grinding that as well, hoping to be out of there in and out in one day. So, but if not, that may still be going on Wednesday morning, hopefully wrapping up before they open for business on Wednesday. So that is what's going on out at the recycle center. So a lot of work there. Other than that, we've been busy down at the shop, a lot of repairs coming in and out, and Christmas deco season, we've been plowing and sanding now, and all it's that time of year, so we've been busy. Other than that, I think just agenda items for me.
Thanks, Kenny. Jake?
All right, nothing too much new. As I said last meeting, we had our sludge hauled. You guys will see a bill before you for this meeting. It's about 19,000. They got about 212,000 gallons of sludge hauled, so that was good. Water Lake's been doing turnover, so the water plant's been a little more hectic to run. We've been doing burst runs, basically running it for an hour, shutting it off, doing another jar test, see where we're at, run it for another hour. We just got it to the point where we only have to shut it off once a day. So she's coming around nicely. Other than that, we're doing good.
Sounds good. All right. Mel?
Pretty much just agenda items. We're at 66 runs as of right now. So that's up.
For the month?
Yeah, I think what we met last Monday, we were at 30. Today we're at 66.
Okay.
So yeah, just agenda items for me.
All right. Becky, anything?
I was just looking through this, the governor's order. And if you look on page 8, there is a little blurb on outdoor activity. And it does state as part of outdoor activity that you maintain at least 6 feet of separation between participants from different households. If you look under letter B and then look under letter I don't know how we're supposed to monitor that, but And then also just refer to the, DNR state website. But it does state that 6 feet in that paragraph right there for outdoor.
Okay,
Yeah, and that paragraph does include skiing, skating, snowshoeing, all of that, so. Not
I'm
that
not
I
sure how we monitor all
be out
that.
there, but, we definitely, hopefully we may have to put a sign up to that effect, or, make a copy of that part of the executive order, and hopefully people will just follow it.
right, exactly.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I'll work with Becky and Wade on exactly what the executive order requires, and we can make sure the appropriate signage goes up when the rink opens. We'll have the appropriate signage up there, just as long as we put people on notice that the executive order requires certain things. We'll make sure that that's properly posted at the rink when they're ready to open.
Perfect, thank you, Mitch.
Yep.
That's all. Thanks, Mayor.
Mitch, do you have anything tonight?
No, the only thing I have to comment on is just that ordinance change in the liquor license fees, and I can discuss that when we get to that agenda item. That's all I would have tonight, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Reports from city councilors. Councilor Zins.
Just agenda items.
Okay, Councilor Segler.
I've got nothing tonight. We already talked about the outdoor rink, so we got my point covered.
All right, Councilor Pop.
I think most of the agenda items, I did dial into that, the fall conference meeting that the League of Minnesota Cities had, and they had some guest representatives that sat in on a panel. A lot of the discussion revolved around how they were going to come up with a balanced budget for next year. And it was comforting to know that they were going to try to protect the LGA money right to the bitter end. And if there was going to be any significant tax increase, would forego it to allow the cities to be able to put that, not being that the cities already have their budget set for next year. The state budget goes from July to the end of June, I believe. So they can use some reserves first, and then hopefully the second half of their budget, then the cities would be able to make adjustments to their next year's budget for that. So, but it was an interesting meeting to listen to. All of it, I caught the last couple hours, so.
Okay. Councilor Peterson.
Yes, so I talked to Jill at AEOA today. I actually have been volunteering for Meals on Wheels, and she's setting up the calendar for December. She's having a really hard time filling the Hoyt Lakes routes, and she's still wanted me to throw out there that they're still looking for volunteers if anyone can sign up. Her number is 218-735-6899. It's super easy. If people aren't familiar with it, you go and pick up the meals from Bonds and then deliver them. It takes like 30 minutes, and then you're done and you bring the bags back to Bonds. So I just thought I'd try to get more people involved. Also, if you are on Facebook, you might have seen that a few of our citizens are doing a Hoyt Lakes decorating contest for Christmas, which is now through December 19th. The winners will be announced on December 20th. There's going to be a voting box at 219 Dorchester Drive, and there will also be a place on Facebook to cast your vote. A lot of businesses have already donated prizes, so it should be something fun for everybody.
Chris, what was that gal's name with the senior thing?
Oh, it's Jill.
Jill? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how many of them they're delivering?
The last time I did it, there were 7.
Okay. I'll see what I know. Some people are looking for some winter projects, so I'll reach out to a couple people, so see if I can get some for that. So.
Thank you.
Okay. I've got a couple items tonight. I know I brought it up to the council in the past about an IRRB grant for the water tower. I've been working with SEH's Mike Larson on that. He has filled out the preliminary application for the grant for $250,000 towards that water tower project. So once we get a little more information, Becky's waving at me. Did you get part of that?
We submitted the final today. The preliminary was accepted and the final was submitted today.
So hopefully I think there's an IRRB meeting sometime in December, and I can't remember the date on that, but I'm hoping we would find out by then, which would be nice because that tower's, what, Jake, that was estimated at like $419,000.
Yeah, something like that.
So if we could get that 250 or even 200 from IRRB would help soften the blow on next year's budget. I think we are planning on borrowing a big chunk of that, so that would help. I'll keep the council posted on that. I went with SEH to do that because SEH is the company that designed and engineered that water tower. We're talking about the little water tower at Laskin is the one we're looking at. So I'll keep you posted on that. Tax statements. I got a couple phone calls. Did anybody get their tax statements in town? The values went up considerably. I know mine went up a lot. And it's curious to me that since we didn't raise our levy next year, that the Hoyt Lakes portion still went up. So I'll be working on that. So those are the only two things I have, and we'll move on. Moving on to item 8A, COVID-19. Anything new on COVID-19 other than the governor's order? Becky, anything you can see that we need to do different?
We're just going by the governor's order. I was going to bring up the outdoor rink under that, but then there's those other items that are listed that we could go through too, Mayor.
Okay, all right. So everybody has a copy of that. I've gone through that fairly thorough. It's just interesting with IRRB opening up Giants Ridge. My thought was the governor doesn't want people to travel. Well, most of the people going there are going to travel, but anyway, they said it's still part of it. So the next item on there is the St. Louis County Partnership, Community Testing Partnership. I know Kenny and Becky, you've been working on this. Are they thinking the arena or what?
Kenny, my understanding, I think they worked, she worked with Tammy, but yes, we're thinking the arena. We're going to run it by Wade. With the arena closed, I think they thought the multi-purpose room would work well. Is that your understanding, Kenny?
Yes, when Tammy brought it up to me, they asked us of all the different buildings we had and which ones may suit their need. The arena would probably work best just in the fact that it has separate entrance and the exits, which is what they wanted, so they could get a continuous flow of traffic, not going in and out the same door. So with the arena, it could be set up again, just like we did with the election, partitioning off the lobby and using separate entrance exits. I don't know. I never heard a timeline from the county how long this was supposed to go on for. I think it was only a couple weeks, but it wouldn't take much to get the arena set up again the way we had it for the election. And I think that would probably be the best bet.
And the COVID team, I did bring it to the COVID team and they had no issue.
Do we have a date on this yet, a starting date?
Not yet. To my understanding, she was just wondering if it'd be possible, and then we'll work with her on dates.
Okay. Any of the council have any issues with the county coming in for doing testing? No? Okay. And then Becky, I see you have on your Gilbert Bank closing, night drop available. Any issues for us?
Well, we're just utilizing the night drop, and it's probably through the end of November. They have lack of workers due to COVID, so we'll just someone will be checking that night drop daily or every couple days, and we'll just utilize that, and it'll work just fine.
Okay. All right. And then COVID CARES Act fund final report. Becky put a report from every department in there. It looks like we've got it all used up. So.
I was hoping for a motion to approve that final report.
Okay. Any questions or discussions on this? Not hearing any. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilor Segler. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Support by Councilor Zins. Roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. Under other, Mel, you're still on, and I'm assuming you're gonna be able to use all of yours up too by the end of the year?
Yeah, they sent out, the Minnesota Department of Health for mine sent out that they may be a possibility of getting some more funding. So Saturday I did apply for some more. And with that, they asked if you would be able to spend all that you had been given before. I basically have it all spent. I think I have a couple $1,000s left in supplies that I can order, but I have until December 30th to use it up.
Okay.
So I only have a little chunk of that left, and then I do have like $17,000 of it to be used for costs associated with staff isolation and quarantine. And so in that survey that I did explain to them, you know, now it's just starting to hit our area, so I'm just starting to use those funds. I think I've used 5,000 so far. So, you know, I did ask for an extension on that. Whether or not they're going to give it to me, I don't know. So if they don't extend that, which I'm pretty sure they will, I mean, they should, but if they don't, I will have to send that portion back. But I have until the 30th of December.
So you got another 5 weeks. You never know what's gonna happen in that 5 week. Okay. Is anybody on the council or anybody got any more questions on COVID? All right, not hearing any. We'll move on. County Road 666 storage lots, blight ordinance. Councilor Pop.
All right, yeah, a couple things there. I know our last meeting, I just kind of asked the councilors to take a look at that storage area, come up with some ideas. I guess the main reason I had Becky put it on this time is to get Mitch's feedback is if we set that up as a storage area, and there could be many scenarios. We could rent out lots out there for people to store stuff. We could use it as a holding area for non-compliance blight people. What liability does the city have on anything that we may take out there? Or that maybe, you know, if we rented a spot to people, and how much gating has to be put up, or what type of liability would be involved? And you don't have to answer that tonight. I think it was maybe more just some research on that and come back, or you may have the answer right off the cuff.
Well, I mean, if we were going to rent it to people, if the city was going to get into the business of renting some of that space, you know, we would have them sign an agreement that the city is not liable in any way for anything that might happen to stuff that's stored there. So we would put the proper agreements in place to make sure that that the city is, you know, protected from any potential liability for the items that are stored there. If there's any damage to any of the items, they would sign a release and waiver absolving the city from any responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, if I'm not mistaken, when we first discussed these storage areas, we weren't going to get into a where we were going to rent anything, because we didn't want to compete with the business owners that have the storage facilities in town.
Well, I think that's up for discussion.
Set aside an area, I believe, where people could store like a fish house or store a camper, but it was going to be at their own risk or whatever, because there is no power out there. There's no lighting.
Yep.
We didn't have a fence.
That was the big thing that I was concerned about. And, you know, even if we did something like that, we would probably still have to come up with some cordoned off areas that, you know, it's not just going to be a free for all to have people bring stuff out and park it or whatever. We would have to have some record keeping of who brought stuff out there and what it is. If entail marking out X amount of stalls or however. I mean, this is just basically in the planning stage, and I haven't really talked much to Kenny. I don't know what that surface is like, if it's come spring, if it's going to be a quagmire, or if it's going to be drivable, or if more work needs to be done before we can even drive on it. So it's kind of just way in the planning stages on my end. So
Okay.
and then the second part, the blight ordinance part on there, I'd asked Becky to put that on. So our current blight ordinance that deals with, and again, this would be probably some work that Mitch may have to do. It's on the chapter 91 nuisances that deals with abandoned, junked, inoperative motor vehicles. And then on section 9102, there's a definitions clause. And the definitions do not include watercraft. And we're starting to accumulate a lot of junk boats sitting out next to the curb in various parts of the yard. So I'm just asking that we could include watercraft in that definition. So the way it reads right now, it says Minnesota Statute 169-001 subdivision 1, as it may be amended from time to time, including automobiles, trucks, motorcycles, tractors, snowmobiles, ATVs, and other self-propelled machinery. So do we need to add watercraft in there, or can it be assumed that watercraft is other self-propelled machinery, or would it take an ordinance change?
And then Dan, my question for you is, does it list campers that aren't like a pull-behind camper? Is that listed?
No, basically this is self-propelled motorized equipment. Everything that's listed in there, automobiles, trucks, motorcycles, tractors, snowmobiles, ATVs, and other self-propelled. So we don't have any ordinance that covers campers, trailers, watercraft that are sitting, gathering junk, weeds growing around.
Yeah. So, and then, you do actually, around communities, you actually do see a fair amount of that as blight, where somebody's got an old abandoned boat sitting. A lot of times it's not even on a trailer. It's just sitting in the yard somewhere, or like you said, Mayor, a behind camper of some sort that's been abandoned and is really never used anymore. So, yeah, I mean, to make it more clear that those types of things would fall under the ordinance, we could do an ordinance amendment if the council wanted me to draft a proposed amendment to that part of the city code, and to clarify that those types of items would be included in the definition of blight or nuisance. We can do an ordinance amendment.
I think that's a good.
It would be a code modification.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because it gives some clarification there, Dan, so there's no gray area in there. And
Yeah.
Councilor Zins, that would go through the planning and zoning then, wouldn't it? Once we get that ordinance moving, that change?
I believe we have to have a public hearing.
Mitch, wouldn't that be through planning and zoning?
Well, I have to see what part of the code book it's under. I don't know if if it's under zoning, if it's under the chapter of zoning, then there would be, we probably would want to have a public hearing on it. But I'll have to look at exactly what part of the code it's under. I'm not sure if it's part of the
I
zoning.
don't think it's within zoning.
I don't think it's within the zoning code. No.
Okay. Chapter 91 under
Right.
nuisances.
Just nuisance. Yep.
Okay,
So yeah, if it's not under the zoning code, then it would just be an amendment like any other non-zoning amendment that the city council could make by ordinance, amending the city code.
okay. Mitch, you'll look into that for us then?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Anything else, Dan?
No, I think that covers both of them. Thank you.
All right. We'll move on to full-time equipment operator. Kenny, if I remember right, there was 13 applications?
I believe correct.
Yeah, so I guess I'd like to set up a committee to go over the applications. Brian, you're liaison. Do you want to be on that committee?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So Kenny and Brian and I would like to be on that. The three of us should probably go over the applications. And then how do we want to move forward with that?
Wouldn't we kind of want to do it the same last time, Chris, where we vetted them and I can't remember if we brought 4 or 5 back to the full council for interview?
4.
Is that what we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, in March we did 4. We vetted the apps, interviewed the top 4 and proceeded from there.
So the whole, and I don't remember, so the whole council interviewed the 4?
Yep.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So I think we can do the same thing if the council's okay with that. Brian and Kenny and I will go over the applications and come up with 3 or 4 or 5, whatever. You know, I think that number depends on who we think is qualified.
Right.
If that's okay with the council, then we would come back for a full council interview.
Works for me.
Idea.
Everybody okay with that?
Chris, if you and Kenny,
Go ahead.
if you and Kenny were available Wednesday at like 2:30 to do it or something, would that work for you guys?
Yeah, Wednesday's fine with me.
Yeah, 2:30 Wednesday?
Yeah, why don't we do that? And do we want to like schedule them interviews a night of a council meeting, or do we want to do it on a different night?
I think let's look at them first and we'll make a decision on that.
Okay, that's fine.
Where are we going to meet on Wednesday? Can we meet in the council chambers, just the 3 of us?
I would think that would be fine. We can distance plenty in there.
Yeah, we can distance in there. I know City Hall's closed, but I mean, we're all employees, so we can go over there and I'm wondering, Becky, if we shouldn't make copies of the applications so we're not all handling the same applications. Does that make sense? Just the pertinent information on them?
Sure, or another option would be for Kenny or one of you to just read off their qualifications and what they have, and so that one person can just verbalize that. That'll be a lot of copying for us. We can do it, but that might be another option, that one person just informs the group of what they have and answers any questions.
What do you feel comfortable with, Brian?
That's fine with me if you or Kenny or
I'm good. I've already looked at them, so. And Brian, if you
I've
have
looked
time,
at some, so.
Yeah, if you have time to go down and take a quick look at them, I have done that already, so.
Yeah, same here. Becky was going to try and find like a score sheet that we used last time in the vetting process. If we had that, we could fill them out during the same time.
Sure.
I did
Okay.
find that. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So 2:30 at City Hall in the council chambers on the 25th. Okay.
Yep.
All right. The council good with that?
Mayor, do you want to have a motion to create that hiring committee for this hiring process?
Could I get a motion to make a hiring committee of Councilor Segler, Mayor of Vreeland, and Public Works Supervisor Snetzinger to vet the applications?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilor Zins. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Support by Councilor Peterson. Roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on down to item D, ambulance, full-time paramedic hiring. Councilor Zins, Pop, and Mel Olmsted. I don't know who wants to lead this.
So I did send out, did everyone get a copy of the options that Dan and I kind of came up with?
Mhm.
Did anyone have questions on any of those?
I don't like option 1 with the 24-hour shift rotation, but it puts a lot of overtime into the place.
Yeah, that was exactly my feeling. It puts a lot of overtime, and it also makes it very difficult to hire, or not to hire, but to create work down there when part of their shift is going to involve sleeping hours. And if it's, a more managed shift where you can have duties involved in it, that it's basically a shift where they're going to be expected to be awake and doing stuff down there. So when they're not on a run.
Okay. Anybody else have questions or comments on option 1? Okay, not hearing any. Mel, option 2?
That was my favorite option, was option number 2. You can see that the total salaries are very similar. I mean, for what was it, $17,638, we can get another full-time person on there and do a 12-hour shift rotation, and all of the medic shifts would be covered.
I did some figuring on that option, and I just considered an ABCD shift. That if every paramedic would do 7 shifts, 12-hour shifts, that's 84 hours every 2 weeks. It's only 4 hours overtime. And is that kind of the schedule, what you're thinking? 3 on and then 3 off and then 4 on and 4 off? Is that schedule?
Dan had an idea about what he worked when he was at Mintac. That's kind of what we were thinking.
There's a lot of different 12-hour shift options, like UTAC, they're bouncing back and forth from days to nights pretty regularly. The shift that I worked at US Steel, that the shift managers worked and the hourly people are, most of them are on, is, so basically you're working, you're switching from nights to days, but you're never working more than 4 days in any given week. And then once a month you've got 8 full days off, and you have 2 weeks. So you're working 2 weekends, you're off 2 weekends. So it's a really fair schedule to everybody. Everybody works the same days, they work the same amount of nights, and yada, yada. It's just that the holidays fall where the holidays fall, and whoever shift that is, but if they decided they wanted to work something different than that, there are a lot of 12-hour shift options. So, and none of them would entail having to work more than, so you'd be 48 hours 1 week, 36 the next. So there would be, you could, I know I visited with Chief Sewell, and he said the way they work it over there is that the officers know they don't get paid overtime for the week that they work the extra shift, and then the week they're short, they get full pay. So, I mean, I don't know if that's an option also, if we wanted to get away from the overtime pay. But there is way less overtime hours involved in that 4-person rotation.
So my question with this 4-man rotation is, why do we need to hire 3 more? Couldn't with the extra part-time we have, if Mel was one of those, and then the part-timers would pick up some of her shifts, that would give her shifts that she wasn't scheduled for, if we still had part-time paramedics?
I think the problem where we're going to run into there is, so two of our part-timers are interested in full-time positions. So I don't think we're going to have any part-timers left. And like I said, from the very beginning of all this, you go into the career of a paramedic for a full-time job. You don't do it for I'm going to work part-time in Hoyt Lakes, Minnesota. So, back when we started this, we were going to get 12 part-time paramedics. We're never going to see 12 part-time paramedics here. So the only way to really nail anyone down is to offer these full-time positions. And if we do get some part-timers, great. But once we hire people, I don't think we're going to have any part-timers left.
Well, we're still going to have the Robin out of Hibbing and John out of Virginia, correct?
And John's trying to move to Colorado, so I'm not banking on John. We'll have Robin.
What's your thoughts on that, Councillor Pop, on how many we should hire?
Well, yeah, and we could still incorporate, if Robin still wanted to work those hours, that would be another way to reduce some of the overtime, if she would be available for the week that did have that overtime. So maybe instead of working a 12-hour shift that lasts, that would create them to throw them into those 8 hours of overtime that week, they could go home after 4 or whatever, and Robin could cover those hours. So there would still be plenty of options to get her hours.
Vacation replacement, sick time.
Replacement, extra extra runs being she lives in Hibbing, and, you know, the long-term goal would, we get called from Hibbing a lot. Right now, we're not taking transfers. She's over there. So, you know, the chance that she may be able to go on a transfer if it originates in Hibbing may be a lot better than her having to drive to Aurora and then go on a transfer. So
your recommendation, Dan, is to hire 3 more then?
yeah, actually, and I've done some more thinking about that after talking to Mel and coming up with this. I think what we should do is we should put this together, and I would like to see it with these numbers put into next year's budget. And maybe Mel can come up with a number of runs. I think we've already got some runs in there, because I think, I know we don't owe it to the Tri-City, but I think we need to discuss this option with the Tri-City. And I think we also need to make them aware that, you know, they may have to kick some more money in. There's some ideas that maybe we're not going to have an actual dollar amount that they're going to have to kick in more. Maybe it's going to be an agreement between the 3 cities that when extra money is going to need to be put into that fund to keep it solvent, it would be divided equally 3 ways. Or I think it's, you know, I would like to make the recommendation that this is what we want to do. Have Mel put a presentation together for the Tri-City community, and we could even post this job and, you know, get some of the legwork done. And, you know, because the schedule is set now, Mel, for November, December, right? So we're not looking at anything before the first of the year. So
No, we're gonna start on the January schedule this week.
Okay. Counselor Zins,
Now,
yeah.
I felt like we owed it to the Tri-City Fund or Tri-City Group to make sure that they're aware of what we're doing. I don't think it's fair to hire 3-year people or whatever we do, and then just have a meeting after the fact. You know, they've been involved with us for a number of years, ever since I've been on the council. I understand they're city employees, but I still feel that we owe it to them to keep them involved and part of this.
Counselor Zinn's question, are you in favor of the 3 hires?
Yes, I am. Looking at the numbers, I think it's going to reduce so last beginning of the month at the business meeting, when we upped the hours mandatory for November and December, I could see a lot of unhappy people. And I think it's a possibility we could lose a couple more EMTs off of our department right now that can retire. And I think that by hiring these 3, if we did decide to hire 3, it's going to take some of that pressure off that'll be available for additional runs. That's just my feeling anyway. And
Okay.
For the difference in the cost that you've got it before you that was sent out, I think it would be in our best interest.
Yeah, and you know, and I think everybody's got to understand here, we're not increasing the hourly wage because we're paying that right now with part-timers. I mean, so we're strictly talking benefits for these employees, and, you know, depending on if they take hospitalization or not. What have you guys discussed if we move forward with this? And I'm 100% with you guys. We need to meet with the Tri-City before we, you know, move forward and hire people. I think we can get started with it, but I think that's a really good move. What are we thinking for benefits? The same package as regular city employees?
I think we would almost have to.
Okay.
Those were the numbers that Dan and I used.
Okay.
We only included single coverage, but it was a starting point.
Okay.
yeah, so that's the big thing that could skew it. And I know we had talked about the possibility of where these people what group they would fall under, but I mean, it's not unheard of that only the employee is offered the benefit package, and then if they want to pick up for their spouse, they're gonna have to kick in. So it may involve, if that's the decision we make, it may involve having to write a contract strictly for the ambulance, the paramedics.
Okay.
'Cause
Anybody else?
the thing is, we only included the, I gotta look here, so it was basically the benefit package per a single employee is 21,500. With that was including all the para, the FICA, the Medicare, deferred comp, health insurance premium, yada, yada. So now if you're gonna include a family plan in there, that would, instead of $811 a month, that would jump up to, what is it, Becky? $2,000 a year?
2,000.
Yeah, so I mean, it would add some significant, it jumps it up all the way to 37.7 compared to 21.5. So that would be on 3 people, that would be a $50,000 difference.
Okay, then my only question is, we're paying FICA and Medicare now already on their salaries. So I don't really think you need to add that in. That's already being paid, right?
Yes, I think so. And that's why I would like to, I know between Mel and Becky, hopefully they can enter those numbers into next year's budget as to what it would actually do to have full 4-time medics rather than the part-timers, what that would do to both the expense part of that budget.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tried to make some adjustments for para and FICA too, and I don't know enough about, I know some of it's already being paid and how all that works. So hopefully we could get a sound number there. These are kind of just ballpark numbers, I guess. So.
Yes. Councilor Segler, did you have something?
Oh, no, I was just going to say I agree with Dan and Dave that should go to the Tri-City just to kind of let them know what's going on. I would assume they're going to have to start pitching in more money. You don't want to see the fund go the wrong direction. I mean, I'm not expecting them to keep that where we're making a profit, but if we can break even, I'm comfortable with everything moving forward. I do think we need to talk to the Tri-City and maybe someone answer, where are these employees going to fall under? Are they going to fall under AFSCME? I mean, what are we going to do with them that way?
I think we were just going to do contracts, weren't we?
Well, they're going to have to be in some kind of, I wouldn't say union, but some kind of group. I mean, I think at the last council meeting we asked, what is like Gold Cross? What are they? Are they in a group?
They're in a union. They're in what was it?
So just so you know that whether they're in a bargaining unit or not is really not up to the city. Whether or not to unionize as a group is really their decision.
Okay.
And that's not our decision. So whoever, number one, they would have to meet the threshold to be defined as a public employee under the public sector collective bargaining law, which is known as PELRA. And if they meet that threshold, then they would have a right to form a union and select an exclusive representative for purposes of negotiating wages and benefits with the city. Absent that, the city council has really complete discretion to set a wage and benefit package or just a wage package for whoever you're hiring as an employee. So you don't have to negotiate a contract with them. You don't have to define them as some group for bargaining. They're just individual employees, and you have the sole discretion to determine what you might offer to them as a wage package or as a wage and benefit package. There's really no obligation to do anything, and it would be on an individual basis. So if they don't form their own union or vote in a union to serve as their bargaining representative, then the council makes the unilateral determination of where you set the wages and where you set the benefits, if any.
Mel, what is Gold Cross? What union are they in?
What was it? It was, I have the contract in my desk at the hall. It's like same as a grocery,
Yeah.
It's in the grocery worker
Store
union.
worker. It's a local something.
Yeah, so it's a service industry, grocery and service industry or something like that.
Yeah. I have a copy of the contract in my desk.
Okay, Chris, any comments?
Yeah, I guess I really like that option too with the 3 or with the 4 paramedics. That I worry about people getting burnt out and people being on quarantine and that kind of thing. So I think it would be really beneficial to those guys. As far as salary and that, I mean, yeah, we definitely would want to offer benefits because that really sweetens the pot for them to work for us too.
Okay, well, I agree with you, Chris. Our city employees have a standard package, and I believe if we hired 3 full-time paramedics, they should have the standard package. Our director has the package, our assistant director has the package. I think we need to come up with those numbers to see what they look like. I guess, Becky, I'm gonna ask you right now, where we wanna go on this. Make a motion to have this 3 hire package put together so we can get some more firm numbers on it and call a Tri-City meeting?
Sure. And you're not ready to post this position, you're not ready to post this quite yet, then you'll do that after the Tri-City meeting? Is that what I'm hearing?
Councilor Zins, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we need firm numbers and then that meeting decide whether we're gonna post and how we're gonna do it.
Okay.
That sounds like a plan. I mean, I think we've got a good plan going forward, and if it involves 1 more month of struggling with, if this doesn't happen till February 1st or whatever, I think we want to make sure we do it right, so.
Right. Yeah, sometimes things take longer than we like, but, so I'll take a motion to authorize Director Olmsted to put this package together and set up a Tri-City meeting as soon as possible to have that meeting. And Councilor Pop and Councilor Zins, I think I'd have you guys go to that. Is that all right? I mean, not 3 of us can't go, and I'm okay with that if you 2 want to go.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with
Okay.
that too.
Okay. So,
I do have one more question.
okay.
But we can, Mel, will this affect your EMT and the requirements that they have to fulfill if you go to these 4 full-time medics? Is that going to reduce their hours?
I'm hoping so. I mean, I don't want to make any decisions for them without talking to them first. I know they're at 24 now. Well, we bumped them up 8 hours for November and December, and there is not one person happy about it. So I don't know, talking with them, if I fit in the schedule in that EMT spot, we're saving money not paying the EMTs because we're paying myself anyways. I'm available to go on the calls, or I'm not. It all depends. I'd like to talk to the EMTs first. I think there's lots of ways we could work it. I'm hoping it will. For sure, they'd go back to the 24.
Yep.
Whether or not it'd go any lower, I personally don't want to see them go below the 24. Even with the 24 hours, I have 1 EMT, and I didn't look at all their numbers, but I know 1 for sure has only been on 11 calls all year. So, I don't want them to lose it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I wouldn't want to see it go any less, but maybe we could go back to the way it used to be, where there was mandatory number of runs we had to do, or something of the sort.
Okay.
So Mel and Brian, there still would be 744 EMT hours to fill in a month. And if we only required 24 hours, it would take 31 EMTs to fill those shifts if everybody worked the minimum.
Okay.
And there are some people that are willing to work more and they use it as a part-time job. So I don't think we would have a problem filling the hours with going back to the 24-hour minimum. And the people that are willing to do more would pick up extra shifts to fill the schedule.
Okay.
We also, on Friday, we had two EMT only interviews that went really well. We were going to recommend those hires. I didn't get it into the to Becky until today because we did it Friday. So I'm sure that will be on the next council meeting. And then I did have another application today, so
Good.
the EMT stuff's starting to come in.
Good. Okay. Let's have a motion then to have Mel work with Becky to put that package together and then to set up a Tri-City meeting. You got a date at all scheduled for that, Mel, or a week or anything?
No, I've been waiting. We're due to have one in December anyways, so I was kind of waiting to see what our plan was going to be moving forward to present this to them. So
okay.
I work tomorrow, Becky. So are you going to be at work tomorrow?
Yes, not to add another iron in the fire, but December 15th is our Truth and Taxation public comment hearing. That is usually where we set and adopt our final budget and levy. And so if we're gonna start amending, the budget as the preliminary as it is now, I just wanted to comment on that. We don't have a lot of time.
So we would make sure on the 14th is our next council meeting that we have all the numbers we need so we can amend that the night before, or I can call a special meeting the week before that to get those numbers corrected before Truth and Taxation. So Mel, I would suggest that very first week of December, if you can get something lined up with the Tri-City. That's still 2 weeks away, so.
Okay.
Can I get a motion to approve this?
And I think Councillor Pop might be on vacation too during that first week, right? Dan?
I'm back on the 3rd.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yep, I'll be back by then.
Okay.
I would make a motion to that effect, Chris, that we get those numbers together, schedule a Tri-City meeting as early as possible in December and have our numbers finalized by our next council meeting.
Okay. Motion by Councillor Pop. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councillor Zins. A roll call, please.
Councillor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. Farther in on that packet, approve full-time paramedic job description contract. I'm assuming the three of you talked about this also?
So at budget time, you guys made me come up with that because I asked for a full-time paramedic at budget time. So I already had that ready.
So we need a motion to approve this full-time paramedic job description.
Yes.
Is there a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councillor Pop. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councillor Peterson. Any other discussion? We needed to have a job description if we're going to hire people, so roll call, please.
Councillor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. Approve part-time ambulance attendant driver job description wage. Mel?
So yeah, that was actually a funny one. So Becky sent me, it was an old job description from, and it's not that old. 2001 is not that old, I'm sorry. But it listed the EMTs as ambulance attendants / drivers. And that was their job description. So I played with it and kind of fixed it to work to what we want it for here. So.
And
Yeah,
this is just a
it's just
temporary
basic.
situation, right?
Right, because, okay, yeah, and then getting back to that, so they're only used now in the emergency declaration.
Right.
So, we talked about hiring first responders or putting first responders on. In order to be an ELS unit, you need an EMT and a paramedic on the ambulance. You can't have a first responder and a paramedic. So, first responders would be useless here. I mean, they wouldn't be useless, but kind of.
So this is just going to be a temporary, as long as we're in an emergency situation.
Yes.
Dan, did I interrupt you?
Nope.
Oh, I thought I heard somebody talking, so sorry.
Nope.
So this is just, we got to approve this job description, and then the pay for this, Mel, would be
It'd be half of I included in that packet is the transfer rate that EMTs get and the paramedics for when we take a transfer.
Okay.
So they'd get the half the EMT rate.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I could put that in there, but I didn't because
Yeah.
I was hurrying.
So basically you would just mass text if anybody's available to drive for a transfer until further notice, till we get through this.
Right, and then the first response we use that person.
Just for BLS transport?
No, you can use them right now for anything.
Okay,
We could use them for ALS and BLS.
okay.
We just hate, with all the transfers going on, Brian, we just hate to take a paramedic and an EMT out of town and just to get somebody to drive down to Duluth, so.
Right, but she said something earlier about it had to be an EMT and a paramedic to be ALS.
That's not under the emergency declaration allows civilians to drive the ambulance. So
Gotcha.
if we weren't on that, we couldn't do this.
Yeah.
But since we are, we can.
But on an ALS transfer, it has to be an EMT and a paramedic.
Not right now. Not right now.
No,
No.
but
Normally.
did you say on a ALS, the first responder could not?
Under
could have
normal circumstances, under the emergency declaration, anybody can drive the ambulance.
I understand that, but if there's two people in the back on an ALS,
That never happens. There's only one person in the
Okay.
back.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve this job description and wage package?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Counselor Zins. Is there support?
I'll support that.
Support by Counselor Pop. Roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes,
Segler,
Yes,
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Breland.
Yes, motion carries. Now, do we want to discuss tonight the approval of internal and external posting, advertising and time frame on this, or wait till we meet with the Tri-City?
thought it was said we were gonna wait till after the meeting with the Tri-City.
Okay. Okay, let's do that then. Any other questions on ambulance? Mel, you got anything else for us?
I don't think so. Cody, can you think of anything that I'm forgetting?
Okay,
No,
you
I don't.
keep everybody posted on that meeting then, okay?
Will do.
All right, thank you. Let's move to item E, amendment to liquor license ordinance 110.04. Attorney
Yeah,
Brunfeld?
Yeah, mayor and councilors. So as we talked about with the COVID situation and the impact it's had on the hospitality industry and with your, any sort of liquor establishments in town. So as we talked about before, the problem with this concept of refunding fees is that the fees are actually set by ordinance, and the criteria under the ordinance for actually refunding a fee are pretty narrow. So what we talked about doing is structure some language in ordinance or into this code that in these unusual times would allow the city council the discretion and authority to either suspend the fee completely or just reduce it. So that's what we've done here. We added the second sentence that in these, I put in general economic times of general economic uncertainty, recession, depression, natural disasters, or a pandemic, city council shall have the authority and discretion by motion or resolution to temporarily suspend or reduce the annual fee. So I think what we need to do is we'll get this ordinance, we'll get this code amendment in place first, and then when we get into the liquor license fees for 2021, the council will then have the ability to make a decision, discretionary decision on, you could potentially suspend the liquor license fees or potentially reduce the liquor license fees in 2021 as a way to assist your hospitality industry. So if the council's okay with this, what we would do is we'll go ahead and post this officially on the city website and bulletin board as a proposed code amendment by ordinance. And we'll need to do that for at least 10 days. So then we could take this up at the next city council meeting in December and have it before the council at that time for final approval, if that's what you want to do. And then at the end of the year, you would be in a position to be able to go ahead and decide what you want to do to give the hospitality industry a break probably for 2021 on any liquor license fees that you might collect.
That sounds really good to me. Council, any input from the council?
I had a question. If we make this amendment and it's in effect, say, today, why can't it affect the liquor license for 2020? Like, why can't we waive them for 2020 or
Well,
refund them?
because it's what we call it's what we call an ex post facto law. So basically there is criteria in the ordinance in terms of when you can give a refund for the 2020 liquor fees. But if you pass that amendment now, it basically apply if you pass a code amendment now, it applies going forward. It doesn't necessarily have retroactive impact when you pass a code amendment. The code amendment goes into effect when you actually adopt it. So since you've already, as I understand it, you've already collected liquor license fees
we have.
for 2020, and the existing code has very narrow circumstances that do not apply here that allow for a refund. If you amended that part of the code right now, it really wouldn't be able to give you any, it wouldn't give you the authority to grant the relief that you want to grant. So basically the way we're going to do it is we're going to grant them the relief going forward or the city council is going to grant the bar owners the relief going forward for the 2021 fees. So it has to do with what we call an ex post facto law that revising that part of the code right now wouldn't really do anything for you since the 2020 fees have already been collected.
Okay, thank you. I know some people were questioning why we couldn't, so, okay.
And Councilor Peterson, I think what we can do at that time is we can reduce, if the council decides the 21, kind of for what we thought they should have got in 2022. So Becky, do you know when do we collect like the 2021 liquor license?
A lot of them have really already paid. They submitted their applications, but we're just hanging on to those checks until the city council makes that final decision. We're going to go ahead and submit, at which we can do the licenses, but we're just hanging on to those payments right now.
Okay, good. Everybody happy with that?
Sounds good to me. I just have a question. Like, I know what our liquor license is, what, $1,200 a year? Is that what it costs these guys?
Yeah.
Does that all come to the city, or do we have to pay the state certain amounts of that money?
No, that's a city by ordinance. That's our city fee.
Okay.
But I think, Brian, that like the club, like the VFW, I think they're only, what, $100 for the year, Becky?
Yeah, I forget which theirs is, but
I
it just
thought I
depends
read
on
that.
it depends on your level of sale. I think it's $1,000 for, there's an annual off sale of 100, annual fee for special club is 100. And so it just depends on the level of what your fee is in the ordinance.
Okay, so maybe when we come to that meeting, Becky, we should get a list of what each individual business has paid for the year.
I thought I had included that, but I'm not seeing it now.
Yeah, so.
So sorry about that.
No, whenever we're ready for that, so. No, that sounds good, Mitch. We'll move forward with that then. I mean, do we need to make a motion on this tonight, Becky?
We don't really need a motion, Mitch, do we, to post? Or do we?
Just also consensus that we'll go ahead and take this proposed ordinance and we'll post it on the website as required for the 10 days before it's finally adopted. So if the council's okay with that, we'll go ahead and post it as a proposed ordinance.
Okay, everybody all right with that?
Yep.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Thank you, Mitch. We're gonna jump to new business 9A, schedule special city council meeting with the East Range Joint Powers Board on Wednesday, January 13th at 4 o'clock for strategic direction consensus workshop. North Span is gonna be putting this on, And they want all of the councils there for this Zoom meeting. So I just want a motion to schedule this council meeting for January.
I'll make the motion for you since I don't have to be there.
Sure, Brian. All right, motion by Councillor Segler. Support?
I'll support it.
Support by Councillor Zins, I believe. Roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. Item B, to approve the quote of AK Plumbing LLC, October 30th, the amount of $8,851.70 to replace gas water heater at the arena. Supervisor West.
Yeah, that's just for the one in the Zamboni room.
And that was budgeted, correct?
Yeah, and the budget number was 10,000, so it came under quite a bit under budget.
Okay. Can we have a motion to approve?
I'll make it.
Motion by Councillor Segler. Support?
I'll support it.
Support by Councillor Peterson. Roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. Item C, approve application for payment number 6, Masabi Bituminous in the amount of $94,479.95 for the 2020 street and infrastructure improvement project. Is Matt still on or not? Oh, there he is.
Yep, I'm still here.
Oh, any comments, Matt?
No, I don't. If anybody has any questions, I can certainly try to answer them though.
Question I have is for next year, basically, we need to get that second coat on and then the sod taken care of. Is there, what else needs to be done for next spring?
For major items, that's about it. Then we'll have some punch list and cleanup items.
Okay. Any councilman got any questions on the project? Councilor Peterson, since you live on that road?
I just can't wait for it to be done.
Okay. It'll be nice when it's done though, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. No other discussion on it? If not, motion to approve? I'll make that motion. Support?
I'll support.
Support by Councillor Segler. Roll call.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. I have one more issue. Just a congratulations out to Councilor-elect Kramer. Debbie, are you on? Any comments you want to give the council or the public?
No comment, just looking forward to January.
Okay, if you have any questions, you can call, I'm sure any of the council or Becky or myself, okay?
Sounds good, thanks.
Yeah, I'll be meeting with you in December on liaisons. I'm working on the liaisons for everybody right now too. So I'll be giving all the councilmen a call on that. So we're ready for that in January though. So, all right, Councilor Segler, we're ready.
Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilor Segler. Support?
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Peterson. Roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop.
I'll say yes, even though nobody wished me a happy birthday.
Oh, damn.
Happy birthday, Grandpa.
Happy birthday, Dan.
Do we gotta
Thank
sing
you.
now?
Maybe we should sing, I don't know.
No, that's
Guys,
good.
go right ahead.
All right,
Happy
Peterson
birthday, Dan.
Thank you.
and Mayor Vreeland.
yes. Motion carries. Good night, everybody. Have a great night. Be safe out there.
Happy birthday.
Happy
you.
birthday,
Happy
Dan.
birthday, Dan.
Thank